Well, good morning, and thanks so much for joining us on Quick Take this morning. Here's what we know right now from Georgia, where things are moving quickly. Jon Ossoff, just this morning, is claiming victory against David Perdue. Here's what he had to say.
It is with humility that I thank the people of Georgia for electing me to serve you in the United States Senate. Thank you for the confidence and trust that you have placed in me. Let's unite now to beat this virus and rush economic relief to the people of our state and to the American people.
Officially, though, votes are still being counted and the race remains a little too close to call. But there is one winner we learned about overnight. Democrat Raphael Warnock has defeated Kelly Loeffler, winning one of the 2 U.S. Senate seats in Georgia and becoming the state's first black senator. Loeffler has yet to concede. Bloomberg's chief Washington correspondent, Kevin Cirilli, is in Washington, and Bloomberg government congressional reporter Emily Wilkins is in Atlanta. They both join me now. Kevin, Emily, thanks so much for being here. Kevin, I want to start with you. What does Warnock's win mean for the Biden agenda and the future of the Senate?
Well, look, there's no question that Democrats on the cusp of formally getting victory of the upper chamber presents an opportunity for President-elect Joe Biden to accomplish economic relief and stimulus in the first 100 days, particularly by targeting centrist Democrats like Senator Joe Manchin and centrist Republicans like Senator Susan Collins to pass another round of stimulus. But make no mistake, the progressive wish list of D.C. statehood, of a Green New Deal, of radical change to health care, as the Republicans would label it, all of that is still very much not going to happen. Why? Because of centrism having a very good day here in Washington, D.C. While there is a very narrow majority likely for Democrats in the upper chamber, it would be a far-fetched and false reporting to report that the President-elect Biden has a rubber stamp to accomplish his agenda.
What does this mean for Republicans? What was the message that Republicans got in Georgia yesterday?
Soul searching. And that's really what's happening right now. When I talked to sources late last evening, and even with one source earlier today, Tim, what they're all pointing toward is how does the Republican Party expand its tent in order to attract many of the suburban voters that they've lost in the previous 2 cycles. And that's going to come with 2 competing narratives that you're seeing emerge from more centrist Republicans who are arguing that it's time for the Republican Party to move on from the Trump era, and Trump supporters, as well as Trump strategists, who feel that they've been abandoned by the political establishment that was never really with them in the first place. And as a result of that, President Trump, similarly to President-elect Biden, is going to have to make clear of their longer-term political ambitions or lack thereof so that the parties can move forward into this new cycle.
What are the business implications of Democrats having this slight control of the Senate, Kevin? What does it mean?
Well, I was logging onto the Bloomberg terminal just before coming on, and and the markets are holding pretty steady. And I think that is the interpretation from the investor community, is that there will be a more of an increase in chances for there to be another round of economic stimulus. Typically, when there's divided government, markets tend to do historically better on average, Tim. But I would note this: the market reaction, I think, candidly, is an understanding that even if Democrats have control of both chambers, the majority is so narrow that significant structural policy changes are not going to happen on many of the issues that were debated in the 2020 cycle. And then on a final note, I would just note that, and I said this at the top of the report, but it bears repeating, the person to watch is Senator Joe Manchin. He is a Democrat from West Virginia in a state that President Trump carried by more than 20 percentage points. And as a result of that, he finds himself at the intersection of American politics and as a key ally for both parties to either move forward with a Democratic agenda or to act as a check and a balance on it going too far to the left.
So this is it can be fairly characterized as somewhat of a blue wave, but as you said, Kevin, this is a win for centrism, not necessarily for progressives.
You know, every time I keep hearing blue wave, and I go back to my days when I used to go to the Jersey Shore. You know, I miss my vacation, and I would love to go to the Jersey Shore. I don't know if I'd call it a wave as much as I would call it like what would you call it? Like a ripple, maybe?
Yeah,
I don't know.
a blue tide.
A tide? I don't know. You know, I haven't been to the beach in so long that I got to go down the shore. I was listening to the Beach Boys before I came on. I got to get to a beach, Tim. How about that?
Yeah, let's go to the beach. We'll make it happen. We'll make it happen this summer when the weather gets warmer.
Yes.
Emily,
yeah,
I want to turn to you.
I'll jump in right now. Okay.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it. I want to turn to Emily Wilkins, who's in Atlanta. Emily, it's great to see you this morning. What is the latest from the candidates here? When do we expect that we will hear a result from Ossoff Perdue?
So we haven't heard any official results yet, but we've seen already both Democratic candidates weigh in. We just heard Jon Ossoff about an hour or so ago making what was essentially an acceptance speech, saying that he would be working for all Georgians, calling for bipartisanship. We heard a similar message last night from Raphael Warnock, who did a very simple address that was basically live streamed over his social media channels. It was just kind of him talking into the computer, talking about his roots growing up. More interesting, perhaps, is what we are hearing, or rather are not hearing, from Republicans. We really haven't heard a lot from David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler today, but the message that both of them brought out last night was this isn't over yet, that they would continue fighting to make sure that every vote was counted. David Perdue said that he would be using all legal resources available.
What are we going to hear from Loeffler today in the Senate? She is somebody who said that she is going to oppose the certification of Biden's victory.
She is, and I think this kind of speaks to the fact that both Loeffler and Perdue ran their campaigns very, very close to President Trump, sometimes even breaking with the majority of their other Senate Republican colleagues to support things like the $2,000 individual stimulus checks. So we are expecting Loeffler to come out, make that opposition today. However, just to remind sort of all of our watchers here, at the end of today, Joe Biden is still going to be the next president of the United States. What's happening in Congress today isn't actually going to change that result.
How did Republicans lose this, Emily? What went so wrong for them? I mean, these are two incumbents who really had all the advantages going for them, right?
Republicans have started pointing the finger back to President Donald Trump. I mean, when Trump came down here, if you listen to his rallies, a tiny part of those rallies was spent reminding Georgians to get out and vote and praising Perdue and Loeffler. But most of it was Trump looking back at the November 3rd election, bringing up conspiracy theories, bringing up unfounded claims of allegation and fraud. I mean, these are things that have been debunked again and again and again in the courts, and yet Trump continues to bring it up. And look, a lot of Georgia Republicans also believe that there was fraud in the November 3rd election. And clearly from the turnout that we're seeing, a lot of them were so worried there'd be fraud in this runoff that they just didn't show up to vote.
Well, the flip side of this question is, what did Democrats do so right?
So Democrats, this has been a long game for them. I mean, Stacey Abrams has said that this has been years and years in the process, even further back than her influence. This has been a lot of grassroots organizations really targeting Georgians who do lean Democrat but never thought they had a chance, telling them, hey, here's some educational material, here's how you get registered, here's how you get out to vote. I was talking with one voter at a poll place yesterday in Gwinnett County here in the Atlanta suburbs, and I asked her, you know, the Gwinnett County went from red to blue. Is it going to go back? And she said, absolutely not. Change has come to Gwinnett County. It's far more diverse than ever before. She's like, we are now something that can be counted as a solid Democratic vote.
Bloomberg's Emily Wilkins right there in Atlanta, Kevin Cirilli in Washington. Thank you, both of you, for your time this morning and joining us on Quick Take.